Hi students, in this video we are going to discuss about memory and sensors and actuators. First, memory of embedded system. See, memory is an important part of all the processor and the controller based embedded system. It is used to hold either data or memory address. There are two basic types, on-chip memory and off-chip memory. The on-chip memory embedded devices are having inbuilt memory and off-chip memory embedded devices are not having inbuilt memory devices. So that time we have to externally connect the memory devices for the application, and some working memory is also required for the embedded devices for holding data temporarily during some particular operations. And now we are going to see the types of memory. First type, program storage memory. It is also called cold storage memory or program storage memory. This program or code storage memory of an embedded system are used to store the program codes, program instructions. Okay, and these are generally non-volatile storage memory. Means this program or code storage memory can retain its content even after the power is turned off. This can be classified into different types. And for the program storage memory, we are using ROM memory only, read-only memory. And the classification of read-only memory is flash memory, programmable read-only memory, masked read-only memory, erasable programmable read-only memory, electrically erasable programmable read-only memory. The second type is read-write memory. Read-write memory is random access memory. This random access memory is used to hold the data, or it can be used as working memory of the processor or controller. And RAM is a volatile memory. So once the power is turned off, all the data will be destroyed. And RAM is a direct access memory. To access one particular or desired memory location, it is not required to traverse through the entire memory location to reach the desired memory location. And the classification of RAM is RAM, static RAM, dynamic RAM and non-volatile RAM. Then we are going to see sensors and actuators. See, the embedded system always will be in constant interaction with outside world, and the applications like monitoring and controlling these applications will be done based on the changes happening in the outside world only. So this embedded system needs the sensors and actuators to sense the environment variables or environment changes and making changes accordingly. Okay. So sensor, it is a transducer device that converts the energy from one form to another form. Example, we can say temperature sensor, magnetic Hall effect sensor and humidity sensor. And this sensor will be connected with the input port of the embedded system. So it senses the outside world, or it senses the variables, and it gives us the input to the embedded system. Then actuator, this is also a form of transducer device, either mechanical or electrical. It converts the signal to corresponding physical form. And these actuators are output device which are connected with the output port of the embedded system. Example, we can say stepper motor and IO subsystems. And as I said, the interaction happening through the sensors and actuators connected to the input port and output port of the embedded system. But these sensors may not be directly interfaced to the input port. Instead of that, they may be interfaced to any of the subsystems. So now we are going to see few of the subsystems. First one is light emitting diode. It's LED. It's a diode only, light emitting diode. It's an output device for visual indication of any embedded systems. And this light emitting diode, it's a PN junction diode, and when this diode is forward biased, it emits the light. So to emit the light, it must be forward biased. Means anode should be connected with the positive terminal and cathode must be connected with the negative terminal. And these LEDs can be interfaced to the port of the processor or controller in two ways: common cathode method and common anode method. In common cathode method, cathode of the diode will be grounded and anode will be connected with the port pin of the processor and the controller. So through this port only the embedded system is controlling the LED device. Then common anode method. In this method, anode will be grounded and cathode will be connected with the port pin of the processor or controller. Through this pin, processor or controller is controlling the LED device. Second one is 7-segment LED display. So this is also an output device only to view the output of an embedded system which embedded system produces. And here we have LED segments to display the alphanumeric characters, and we have one more LED. So we have 7 LED segments to display the alphanumeric characters and one more LED to display the decimal point. And these 7 LED segments are named A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and the decimal point LED is named as DP. And these 7 LED segments from A to G and DP should be led accordingly to display the numbers and characters. For example, to display number 1, only B and C LEDs should glow. And to display 2, A, B, G, E, D LEDs should glow. And to display 3, A, B, G, C, D should glow. So like that, according to our requirement, those LEDs should glow. Here also we have two configuration: common anode and common cathode. In common anode type, all the 8 LEDs anode are connected commonly. In common cathode type, all the 8 LEDs cathodes are connected commonly. Okay. Then stepper motor. Stepper motor is an electromechanical device which generates discrete rotations, and it is normally used in industrial applications, consumer electronics, robotics, and in printer fax machines also we are using stepper motor only. Based on the coil windings arrangement, two-phase stepper motor is divided into two types: unipolar and bipolar. And there are 3 different stepping modes in stepper motor: full step, wave step, and half step. In full step mode, both the phases are energized. So as I said, we are talking about two-phase stepper motor. So here both the phases will be energized simultaneously, and there will be 4 coils. Out of 4, 2 adjacent coils will be energized. You can see here, these are the steps: coil A, B, C, D. High means energized. Okay, so here you can see 2 adjacent coils are energized, A and B. And in the second step, B and C are energized. In the third step, C and D adjacents are energized. And in the fourth one, D and A adjacent coils are energized. This is full step mode. Then in off step mode, in this mode only one phase will be energized at a time and each coil is energized alternately. So first in the step 1, coil A is energized. In step 2, B is energized. In step 3, coil C is energized. In step 4, coil D is energized. Then half step mode. Half step mode is the combination of full step mode and wave step mode. You can see here there are 8 steps. In the first step, it is acting as wave step. So coil A is energized. In the second step, it is acting as full step mode. So coil A and B are energized. Again in the third one, it is again acting as wave step mode. So this B is energized again. So in the next cycle, it is full step mode. So these two are. So next time it is wave. Coil C is energized. In the 6th cycle, C and D are energized. In the 7th cycle, in wave step mode, coil D is energized. In the 8th cycle, full step mode, D and A are energized. Okay. Next is push button switch. In push button switch, it is a input device. Push button switch is the input device There are two configurations again, push to make and push to break. In the push to make configuration, the switch is normally in the open state, and it makes the circuit contact when the switch is pushed or pressed. And in push to break configuration, the switch is in a closed state, and it breaks the circuit when the switch is pushed or pressed. And depending on the way in which push button is interfaced to the controller, it can generate either high or low pulse. You can see in the first one, port pin is connected here, port pin is connected here, but after that we can see the button, so it generates low pulse. And here the switch is connected with the ground, and port pin is connected here, and switch is here, and switch is connected with the VCC, so it will generate high pulse. Next, last one is keyboard. Keyboard is also an input device only for the user interface. If the user want to communicate anything to the embedded system, they can interact with that. If the number of keys required is less, then we can have push buttons. One or two push buttons we can have. But if the number of keys required are more, then we can have this matrix keyboard. This will be suitable one. So these are about sensors and actuators and IO subsystems. Okay. Thank you.